Hey guys, this is Josh, and you are watching Must See Before You Die, and this is The Last of Us Episode 2 review. Me and Mike were actually on vacation for 2 weeks, so we actually missed two of these episodes. We have gone back and watched them. Mike is really busy, so I'm going to go ahead and do a couple of these reviews by myself. So I'm a huge fan of the game. In Episode 2, really reminded me of the game. It was a lot of the game in it, a lot of the imagery, a lot of the things that happened in the game, which I really liked. Now, one thing that did not happen in the game was at the beginning how they showed how the start of the infection kind of happened. And it's over like in a country in Asia, I think it was, or something like that, Taiwan, I think. I can't remember. But yeah, they showed it, and they have an infected from a flower plant or something. They work in like a factory, and this person was dead, shot in the head, and they went and got this like really prestigious, person that knows about funguses and stuff like this. And the woman basically came back to the guy and said, after she pulled the cordyceps out of the mouth, they're still alive. Even though the body was dead, this fungus was still alive in her. And she said, bomb everything. Bomb the city now. Do it. And take me to see my family, because this isn't going away, and this isn't dying. And there is no cure. There is no vaccine. This is basically incurable at this point. And the guy was like, what? So, and this literally was, I think it was like a day or two before Joel's birthday from the first episode. So it was like basically the weekend. It was like the weekend, and it was already that widespread. And then it kind of shows Joel and Tess with Ellie, and they think she's infected, and they don't trust her. You know what I mean? She went off when they had the guard test her neck, and it went off red that she is infected, and they still don't believe her, even though they saw her bite and all that, and it was healed up, kind of. They still don't trust it. Definitely Joel does not trust it. She like wakes up, and they're watching her. Joel with a gun drawn, ready to shoot if she is infected. But she's not, and she tells them she tells them that she is, she's not supposed to say anything. Marlene told her not to, but she tells them I am that I possibly could be a cure. That's what the Fireflies think, blah, blah, blah. And Joel and Ellie Joel and Tess still they don't know what to think. They're kind of like, whoa. But Tess, you can tell Tess and Ellie kind of bond a little bit. And Joel's still kind of back. And I love the look of all of the city, outside of the zone. It's like, it looks just like the game. Every time I see them, they're walking through it with the cars and the overgrown, grass and plants and stuff. And the buildings all are, decayed and things. It's just like the game. And I do like the part where they walk past this one part, and there's a huge hole in the ground, and Ellie goes, is this where they bombed? And they were like, yeah, that's why Boston was actually a good place to put one of those zones, because the bombing kind of worked there for a while. They were able to build something, walls and stuff. Ellie kind of was talking to them about Joel and Tess, about things that she's heard about the outside. She's never been outside, Ellie has, about how she's heard about how some of the, the infected have no eyes, and they can only see they see bats and stuff. And that's the clickers, which we do end up seeing in this episode. I really liked it. I thought it was really good. And like I said, they go to a hotel, and it's right out of the game. Literally, right when I saw the scene, they opened the door and go in. I looked at my wife. I said, "This is literally in the game. This hotel, and it looks really good." There is kind of like a jump scare in hotel. Ellie's kind of looking around. They go into water kind of like right above the knee a little bit, or right about the knee level. And they kind of just go non-slide. I would have been kind of like worried, like, is there something in here? But they didn't. But Ellie kind of goes looking off. She has never seen a hotel. She asked Joel and Tess, like, have you guys ever stayed in a place like this? And they said, yeah, or whatever. And so she's just real curious about how the world once was, when Joel and Tess, before the fall. And she pulls this thing and like a dead body comes. It's a skeleton though. And Joel still like touches it, like maybe it could still be alive. So I don't know how far gone a body could be and still be controlled by the fungus. I really don't know. They haven't really made that clear in the show yet. The other thing is they're on top of a building and they have to cross a plank. But when they do that, they look and there's like a bunch of infected laying on the ground, kind of like just resting or whatever. And when the sun comes and shines on them, they kind of like try to move out of the way. I don't know if the sun, like the fungus doesn't like, because the fungus likes cold, dark, not cold, I guess, but like dark, moist, wet areas to grow. And but one thing we learn about this fungus that's not in the game is it's got a hive mind. So if you touch a tendril on the ground that's alive, it can warn all the other infected to come to that area if you just touch one of the tentacles or one of the spores. In the game, there's these spores that fly around and you can breathe it in and get infected. In this game, in this show, they do not have that. And but they do have a hive mind, which I do like. That was off of Stranger Things with the Upside Down and stuff. And so I think it's really good. It's really cool that if they touch something here, like it can trigger the others. So they go to a museum to kind of take a shortcut to. They're trying to go towards like the Capitol building or whatever, I think it was. But they go to the museum, and I love this because museum's right out of the game as well. And they're trying to go through there, but like part of the walls crash down, so they have to go a different way. And this is the first time that we hear clickers. And clickers, they can't see. And Joel tells Ellie that, like, they can't see you, but they can hear you. And they do. Very like a sonar, like a bat. So right when they hear you, they go right to you. And they have a really cool scene. They show these things. And what I like is that they're guys in suits. It's not CGI. It's really good. It looks good. And I like, Joel and Tess actually have to end up fighting these things. One of them chases after Tess. And they end up killing these. Joel shoots him a bunch in the head and he kills it. And then Tess, they kill the one that's following her. Ellie ends up getting bit in the arm, like in the exact same spot where she was bit before. So that was a casualty, but they were like, okay, let's see what happens here. She was bit once before, but nothing happened. So I guess we'll see this time. And I just love the atmosphere of this museum. Very cool, man. I said that was great. I love the clicker scene. I can't say enough about it. Look at it. Then they get to this Capitol building, and we find out that Tess gets bit. That she got bit by a clicker, and it's right here. So that's basically they on the chart earlier. I think it was episode 1. They show a chart, and they say if you're bit here, 5 to 20 minutes, you'll turn. It's quick if you're bit in anywhere here. If you're bit in the arm, it's chopped off or whatever. A leg, it can be longer or shorter. But yeah, so she was basically turning at this point. So she told Joel, like, I was bit at the same time as her. And look at my infection. Look at her arm. There's nothing. She is the cure. She is the thing that we need to get. Joel, you need to get her there. And I'm going to try to slow these things down. Because what happened is they accidentally hit a hive mind, and it was sending all those infected that were laying down to this building. And it was a bunch of them. 100 of them at least, if not more. And they're all coming towards this building. So she dumps over all this stuff because they were going to meet the Fireflies there. But one of them got infected and they got in a firefight and they died. So there's all a bunch of supplies there. So she dumps over all these gas drums and throws these grenades into it, which I think is kind of a poor use. She should have just held on to her grenade. But she was trying to light it. They run away. And here they come. They're running, and she's just standing there. And I think the fungus is already taking over her body because one of them notices her and like walks up to her, not violently at all, like calm, just walks up to her, opens his mouth, and the tendrils come out and go right into her mouth. And she finally gets this freaking thing lit and drops it, and it blows up. So I think she was already getting controlled because she just let this thing go in her mouth. The tendrils, and he just walked up to her like he knew she was already infected. Like the hive was telling him, hey, further it now. So, yep, she blew it up. So Tess is dead. In the game, Tess doesn't last that long either. She actually dies differently in the game. She gets shot by the army, the federal army. Yeah, so Joel and Ellie get away. And yeah, so they're on their way to go to Bill's. That's what Tess told them. You need to get to Bill's, and he can help you get a battery and hopefully get this girl. Or Frank and Bill will take this girl the rest of the way or whatever. So now Joel and Ellie are headed to Bill and Frank's. So that's where we left off. I give the episode out of 5. I give it a solid 3.5. I thought it was really good. Yeah, it had some slow parts, but I thought it was really good. I'm going to give it a 3.5. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about it. Bye. Like, comment, subscribe.